Selamat pagi, POWIIS. Can I have a big round of applause for yourself? That's so weak. And I sort of expected that. This is a new term. All of you are a little bit, tired from a lot of holidaying and a very, very busy first term. Right, without further ado, I just want to introduce a new it's not new, an alumni of this school. Her name is Charity Yong. I think many of you are, starting to think about your future, what you want to do with your life. And very often we think about 20 years from now, 30 years from now, and then we sort of miss that portion where you are sort of developing and progressing and really starting to make inroads into your future. And so Charity is one of the graduates from the year 2018, 19, 17. And she's now a really active practitioner of the arts in Penang. I'd like to, and I've invited her to come in and talk to you about what it's like and what her journey has been. So without further ado, can you please give a big round of applause for Charity?
Thank you. Good morning, POWIIS. It's very nice to be back here in this auditorium. So just a little bit about me. I am a multidisciplinary artist. So some people know me as a musician, a musical theater person, a dancer, a playwright. I write poetry, I direct, I do arts management, I even act sometimes. And I am an introvert, and I don't know how important that aspect of it is. So I have actually been in the performing arts scene or world for the past 10 years, and I started that journey right here on this stage when I was in POWIIS. So today I'm going to be talking to you about choices and how that has shaped me as a person, and how that has led me to become a multidisciplinary artist today. You are allowed to point at photos and laugh if you want to. So I was in POWIIS from year 8 to year 13. And throughout my time in POWIIS, I was involved in many, many activities in school. It's too many to list. However, I was part of the very first musical production in school, which was The Lion King. Up until there was The Lion King, there was Grease, there was Beauty and the Beast, there was Little Shop of Horrors. Yeah, it was a lot of productions. I'm not going to bore you with the list. But the one thing that I realized that I did in school was I always said yes to whenever someone, any teacher or students would come up to me and go, hey, do you want to do this thing with me? And so I was involved with a lot of things. I was doing netball, I was doing yearbook. I even had a charity concert. Yes, my name is Charity, and I had a charity concert on this very stage as well. And yes, that is my real name. But to be very, very honest with you, when I was in POWIIS, I had no idea what I was doing. And looking back, it's okay. I had no idea what I was doing. I had no direction in the choices I was making. As I told you, I was just saying yes to everything. But looking back, saying yes to everything was actually a very good thing for me, because it allowed me to do everything and anything that I could get my hands on. And it gave me such a wide range of skills and a very, very long CV to write later on. But throughout my time in POWIIS, the one thing that I knew very sure of was that I excelled in the creativity area of life and the arts. And so I told myself, look, this is what you're good at. You are going to just practice it for the next 5 years. And so that is what I did in POWIIS. And graduated year 13, finished A-levels. I applied to many, many schools for performing arts programs, courses, degrees, double degrees even. However, I did get into all of them, but I did not go to any of them. So I took a 2-year gap year, if that makes sense. So 2 years, even 2 years after I graduated from POWIIS, I still was not in university. All my friends in POWIIS had left for the UK and other countries to go pursue their studies, and I felt like I was alone. I felt like, I'm the only one left here. What am I doing? And so it was definitely a season of waiting for me. But in that season of waiting, I got very, very frustrated with myself. I told myself, hey, look, waiting is a waste of time. Go and do something else in the meantime. And so at the age of 18, I started my very first jazz, tap, and ballet classes for the first time ever in my life. And for those of you who are dancers, you know that most dancers start at the age of 5. And then I started dabbling in food photography as well. I started going out auditioning for theater productions that were outside of school. I was very, very involved with orchestras and choirs in Penang. But then somehow I found myself back at POWIIS doing an internship. And so to give you guys a timeline, that internship was when POWIIS had their Wizard of Oz production. And I think that was probably the biggest production that we had on the stage. There was a full-scale orchestra and everything. So I was stage manager. I was also playing in the orchestra at that time for POWIIS. So then after that, I went to university, finally. For 3 years, I was in KL under TUTAS. TUTAS means Taylor's University, the Actors Studio. And if you don't know where that is, that's in KL PAC, Kuala Lumpur Performing Arts Centre. So I was very excited. I was like, yes, I finally get to go to university. Let's go. And my sole goal was to get out there and meet as many people as I could in the industry in KL, because that is a land that I've never explored independently by myself. And I learned a lot of things. I learned that I had to show up, even if I didn't want to, even if I didn't feel like it, I had to show up often to be a part of that industry and to be a part of their conversations. I learned how to network, how to market myself, how to deal with a very, very diverse group of people, and how to be a part of a culture that was very different from what I knew back home. And then the pandemic hit. So I started uni in 2019, late 2019, and the pandemic started in 2020 in Malaysia, so lockdown. So everything was shut down, and the performing arts world was the most heavily affected because everything is face-to-face. So everything went online, including my classes. I had acting classes, directing classes, movement classes, all on Zoom. And it was very, very hard. It was very depressing as well because everyone was just stuck at home. But I learned that my generation of theater practitioners is the only generation that we know how to do virtual theater. So that's a small little silver lining for us. Besides that, continuing on, next. Coming home to Penang. I consciously decided to come home to Penang after I finished my studies in KL. Once again, it seemed like everyone I knew at that time have left. They've left to the US, overseas to go work, or they stayed on in KL to go and pursue other things. But here I was coming home. People were generally discouraging me from doing that because, well, the creative pathway in Penang is is deemed impossible almost because of the lack of support and the lack of funding that we get from government bodies, private companies, things like that. But I did it anyway because I'm a very stubborn person and I don't like listening to people. And so I just did what I wanted. And thank goodness I did because I came home and I co-founded Dabble Dabble Gel Collective with 5 of my friends, as you can see in that picture. And this year we had our debut theatrical production. It was called Burden of Proof. It was back in November 2023. Burden of Proof deals with the lived realities of sexual violence survivors' stories. And those are the group pictures. And then in the middle is a picture of me with adult ballet dancers. So I'm also a teacher at Green Apple Ballet Academy. Some of you may know me because you've seen me there before. And I'm also currently pursuing dance performance and dance pedagogy at Green Apple. So I'm technically an adult ballet dancer, and I've never had that privilege to experience ballet since I was a kid. Yeah, so that's me right now. And reflecting and preparing for today's talk, I realized that my choices form my habits influence my lifestyle, and through my lifestyle, I've realized what aspects of my career and life are non-negotiable aspects for me. And with those, I'm able to set realistic and personalized goals for myself. And these goals help to shape my values and standards that I hold myself to. And all of this comes back to the choices that I make for myself now. And so choices are very important. And you make choices every day. You wake up and go, do I brush my teeth? Do I comb my hair? Do I take a shower, or do I just go to school without showering? Do I eat breakfast, or do I skip breakfast? Those are all choices that you make, and every single choice that you make will eventually culminate 5 years down the road later on. And so, no matter where you are in life, I want you to reflect on the choices that you are making today, or choices that you have already made, consciously and subconsciously. What kind of choices are you making? Thank you.
Hello. Thank you, Ms. Yong. That was a really powerful message that you've given us. And I think it's a real important message that all of us have to think about. What choices are we making today? Are we making the choice to really commit to something that you are learning, commit to your lessons, commit to your extracurricular activities, commit to your family? Are you just not making choices? Are you just sitting around letting everybody do things for you? Because all your choices go into making the person that you become. Charity is being very, what's the word? She's been very nice about saying she's not really successful, but I think she's, for her age and everything, she's produced a show in Penang with good reviews, and a lot of people in the top echelons of Penang already know her name, so well done. Okay, well, you know what, we're really running out of time, so you have to go back to your lessons, whether you like it or not. And so, another big round of applause for Ms. Yong.
Thank you.